You know, a company's credibility has hit rock bottom when the first thing you see after Googling their name is Nestlé launches weight loss products. Yeah, you heard that right. The same people who brought us Kit Kats, cookie dough, and about half the world's cavities now want to help us shed the pounds they helped us gain. You have got to love capitalism, I must say. You got to respect the audacity. Over the years, the company managed to turn our chocolate cravings into moral dilemmas, our coffee breaks into ecological disasters, and our water bottles into, well, the literal reason for public protest. They made it pretty easy to hate them. But how did we get here? How did the company that once symbolized childhood nostalgia become the literal villain of every environmental documentary ever? Well, let's just say, much like Nestlé's ethics, this story is messy. Our story begins in 1866 in a charming little Swiss village. See, the thing is, back in the 1800s, it was a crazy time when inventors were obsessed with doing weird stuff to milk. On one side, we've got Henri Nestlé, a German-Swiss confectioner who decided regular milk wasn't good enough and created a milk-based baby food. Fun fact, he also invented condensed milk, the cornerstone of everything sugary and shelf-stable. On the other side of town, two American brothers, Charles and George Page, founded the Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company. Their goal? Milk domination. The rivalry was utterly intense. Fast forward to 1905, when the two companies merged to form Nestlé, an Anglo-Swiss condensed milk company. Because nothing screams healthy competition like shaking hands with your sworn enemy, Nestlé had already helped Daniel Peter crack the milk chocolate code by this point, setting the stage for the company's chocolate empire. Yes, Nestlé didn't just sell milk, they supercharged it with sugar and cocoa. You're welcome, dentists. The early 1900s were a whirlwind. Nestlé expanded across Europe and the US, riding the wave of condensed milk's popularity during World War I. Government contracts flowed in, doubling production. But when the war ended, fresh milk made a comeback, leaving Nestlé scrambling. Their solution, of course, was to diversify. By the 1920s, they were cranking out chocolate, white chocolate, and eventually instant coffee, aka Nescafé, the US military's caffeine MVP in World War II. And, in true shady corporate fashion, Nestlé supplied both sides of the war. Somebody has to keep those profits neutral, right? Post-World War II, Nestlé went on an acquisition spree. Maggi, Stouffer's, Carnation, Libby's, and even a share of L'Oreal, because what pairs better with milk chocolate than beauty products, were added to the Nestlé portfolio. By the 1980s, they were so massive that you probably couldn't walk into a grocery store without accidentally buying something they owned. All the Nestlé boycotters know what I'm talking about. They're everywhere. Nestlé had its hands in everything, from pet food to bottled water to medical nutrition. But as their empire grew, so did the skeletons in their closet. Spoiler alert, their business practices weren't always as squeaky clean as those baby food ads. Oh, we're just getting started. Let's get to the good, downright evil in this case, part. Nestlé has always marketed itself as a leader in health and wellness, the whole good food, good life narrative. Yet, its products tell a different story. Now, some of you might not know, but Nestlé is responsible for 7 of the top 15 unhealthiest cereals on the market, packed with sugar and artificial ingredients. With misleading health claims on boxes and clever marketing strategies, Nestlé has faced numerous lawsuits. But with their deep pockets and a fleet of lawyers, they continue to thrive. As someone who is all about good food, Nestlé's track record with food safety has been far from flawless, marked by several high-profile scandals. In 2008, melamine-laced milk from their Chinese factories led to the deaths of 6 infants and the hospitalization of 860 babies. The following year, in 2009, Nestlé's cookie dough was linked to an E. coli outbreak, which served as a reminder that raw dough might not be the safest baking option after all. Then, in 2015, their popular Maggi noodles in India were found to contain 17 times the permissible level of lead, turning a beloved snack into a toxic risk for consumers. It gets worse, way worse, trust me. We all know that water is life. basically the most important thing for humans. But for Nestlé, apparently, water is just another commodity to be extracted, bottled, and sold. So for decades, the company has been tapping into natural water sources around the globe, often with little regard for local communities or the environment. In Canada, the Six Nations Indigenous people face severe water shortages, while just miles away, Nestlé pumps water from the same aquifer and profits off it. And the extraction of water from natural sources, particularly during California's historic drought, seems like the cherry on top. In some areas like Bhati Dilwan in Pakistan, Nestlé's water bottling operations have also been accused of depleting local aquifers, leaving communities without access to clean water. Back in 2000, Nestlé lobbied successfully to redefine access to water as a need instead of a human right.
Das Wasser zu einem öffentlichen Recht erklärt wird. Das heißt, als Mensch sollten Sie einfach Recht haben, Wasser zu haben. Das ist die eine Extremlösung. Ja?
This controversial move set the stage for a corporate water grab, with Nestlé selling water back to communities who often lack access to clean drinking water. Remember what I said about capitalism in the beginning? Yes, exactly that. And that's not all. Nestlé's bottled water brand, Nestlé Pure Life, even contributed significantly to the plastic waste crisis. With each bottle produced, millions of microplastics find their way into ecosystems and food chains. And yet, the company insists that its bottled water is a sustainable product. This greenwashing has been widely mocked, especially given the company's role in polluting rivers and oceans with plastic. Then there's the baby formula of it all. In the 1970s, Nestlé launched a marketing campaign in less economically developed countries that would ignite global outrage. The company aggressively pushed baby formula, claiming it was healthier than breast milk. But this was a lie. In reality, the formula posed serious health risks, especially when mixed with unsafe water. Many infants fell ill and died. Yet Nestlé continued its deceptive practices, encouraging mothers to abandon breastfeeding. The international boycott that followed made Nestlé a symbol of corporate irresponsibility. Everyone loves chocolate, right? But guess what? Even this sweet treat comes at a steep price. Investigations have repeatedly revealed that Nestlé sources cocoa from plantations in West Africa, where child labor, slavery, and trafficking are rampant. Children are forced to work in dangerous conditions, and the company has known about it for years. Now you'd think they would do something about it, but Nestlé's response? Vague promises of reform that have largely failed to materialize. So as we bite into our Kit Kat bars, it's hard to ignore the bitter truth that sweet, silky chocolate is often built on the backs of exploited children. And it's for that same Kit Kat that the company has been linked to the destruction of rainforests. The source is palm oil, a key ingredient in many of Nestlé's products. To meet demand, vast swaths of rainforest have been cleared, displacing wildlife and contributing to the extinction of species like orangutans. In 2010, Nestlé pledged to shift towards more sustainable palm oil sourcing. Yet, years later, it's unclear whether that promise has been fulfilled. As the world burns, Nestlé continues to profit from destruction, casting doubt on their commitment to sustainability. And if you thought Nestlé's disregard for human suffering is limited to the environment, think again. In the early 2000s, when Ethiopia was in extreme poverty, Nestlé demanded that the country repay a $6 million debt. The world responded with outrage, and after tens of thousands of letters flooded Nestlé's headquarters, the company reluctantly agreed to settle for a partial payment. But the damage was done. So all in all, if you thought Nestlé cares, they don't even care about the world's poorest nations. And get this, in 2021, even the Turkish parliament banned Nestlé products from its campus. The reason was its alleged support for Israel, but they never specified what exactly Nestlé did to provoke this reaction. Either way, when your brand gets kicked out of government cafeterias, it's obviously not a great look. However, Nestlé's questionable ethics extend beyond the usual scandals involving environmental harm or labor abuses. The company's ties to some of the world's most notorious figures and regimes have raised serious concerns about its moral compass. But my question is, what moral compass? There isn't one. One particular example involves a deal with Grace Mugabe, the wife of Zimbabwe's dictator Robert Mugabe. In a move that seemed to disregard the ongoing political and humanitarian crisis in Zimbabwe, Nestlé went ahead with a deal to purchase 1 million liters of milk per year from a farm seized by Grace Mugabe from its rightful owners. Grace Mugabe's land grabs began in the early 2000s when she took control of at least 6 of Zimbabwe's most valuable white-owned farms. This not only led to a massive displacement of farmers and workers, but also caused a severe collapse in the country's agricultural sector. As Mugabe's wife built her farming empire on these illegally acquired lands, international condemnation followed, leading to EU and US sanctions. Despite this, Nestlé went ahead with its deal, buying milk from one of her confiscated farms. But Nestlé wasn't just making controversial deals in the world of politics and land ownership. It also made headlines for its role in a massive price-fixing scandal. In Canada, the Competition Bureau raided Nestlé Canada's offices as part of an investigation into price-fixing schemes with other major chocolate companies, including Hershey and Mars. The investigation revealed that the 3 companies had colluded to inflate the prices of their products, ultimately costing Canadian consumers millions. Nestlé, despite having a global presence and seemingly positive stats like employing hundreds of thousands of people, sponsoring sustainability projects, and holding numerous certifications, you just can't ignore its history of controversial practices that have earned it a spot as one of the most hated companies in the world. The fact that this company, with its finger in so many pies, whether it's water, food, or even beauty products, continues to thrive is absurd. But you have to give it to them. Nestlé's ability to reinvent itself, even as it bulldozes over communities, ecosystems, and ethical boundaries, they've managed to turn greed into an art form. I repeat, it's capitalism at its finest, folks. And while we sit here biting into our Kit Kats or sipping on Nescafé, it's hard not to feel a little guilty about the blood, sweat, and exploitation that might have gone into making that sweet treat. So what's next? Will Nestlé finally face the consequences of its actions? Or will it continue to dance its way out of accountability, turning every scandal into just another marketing opportunity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. I'll see you in the next one.